Gentleman yields back. At this time, Chairman Walden, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair, and thanks to all our members, and especially to our witnesses. We got a big panel of witnesses because we have a lot of really important ideas from our members. We've got 25 bills, as you've heard, 8 of them from Democrats, the other 17 from Republicans. Obviously, this committee's used to dealing with big, important issues. Sometimes we've had bills that are maybe hundreds of pages long. These are, I think, important policy statements in some cases, streamlining processes in other cases. The whole concept here is to look at the broad range of ideas that members have brought to this committee for its consideration, and that's why at the subcommittee level we thought it was important to put as many of these bills as possible up for the public to see, because it's on our agenda and our website, but also for us to begin getting our heads around as we move forward in a legislative process. So I'm delighted to have the bills before us. I'm delighted you all before us. I remember when the last administration did the stimulus bill. It was a whopping $7 billion they pushed out the door before they produced the maps to tell us where unserved areas were in America. They only did that after the fact. So as you know, we're trying to get the other side of that coin and identify where are the really unserved and underserved areas. What kind of reporting mechanisms are poorly being conducted today to show us that. We want NTIA and other organizations to help us figure that out. So when the taxpayer or ratepayers' money is invested, it's not invested to overbuild, it's invested to reach out to the 29 million Americans, or 23 million Americans, 39% in rural areas that don't have access to high-speed broadband. As you know, that $7 billion, you have to remember in the market, they're spending close to $80 billion a year on broadband deployment, $1.6 trillion between 1996, I think it is, and 2006. But anyway, the big investment here is done on the private sector. There is public money that's spent. Our job is to make sure that public money is spent appropriately and helps close this digital divide. You know, you want to talk about rural, my district would stretch from the Atlantic to Ohio. It's 69,341 square miles. I've got places in my district where there's one person for every 9 miles of power line. We live this gap every day, and we're trying to close it. And there are multiple ways to close it, but one of the best ways is to make sure that we can expedite the closure of that through reform siting, targeting the financial resources of ratepayers and the government specifically to those areas that are underserved, and helping move this country forward to connectivity like we've never seen before. 2012, we worked in a bipartisan manner in this committee to free up spectrum. That is now being built out. We want to move forward with 5G development. Oh, by the way, we're not Venezuela. The government doesn't need to own, operate, control through a command structure that kind of a network. Now, there may be security issues, and I imagine there are, that we all ought to be apprised of. And I've asked for a briefing, either classified or non, to figure out what those issues are. We want to be smart about having a secure network for the newest innovation, but I don't know that having the government run it is necessarily the best way to go. So we're looking at those issues too. This is an exciting time for America. We want to be in the lead. We don't want to wait. We could do a hearing every week for 25 weeks and then move forward, or we can do one hearing with 25 bills, figure out our ideas among ourselves, come together as a committee in a bipartisan way, deal with making America, again, clear in the forefront on development of connectivity, wired and wireless, and the newest innovation in technology, much like we're trying to do with autonomous vehicles. As I look at my friend and colleague from Ohio with the Self-Drive Act, we got a lot before us. Let's get it done. With that, Madam Chair, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back.